chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you're bad before you're good. Was taught to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic then dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but when knowledge you gain show. Sinking at this run cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing and when it's slow will be the target. Naysayers come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top.
The market is down today. What to think? I want to show you a similar day in the charts historically, but perhaps that day in the charts, and it wasn't too long ago, was even a worse day. We'll look at that historically, and we'll look at the fundamentals of what was going on that day and see if it gives us some perspective for today. We'll also be giving away our Juan Chain giveaway later in the show today, so stay tuned for that. Juan Chain has the best trustless bridge technology, in my personal opinion, allowing people to send value trustlessly across multiple chains. And they've been a sponsor of this channel, and they gave us 500 Juan to give away every month. So we give away 4 times a month, 125 Juan. Now, I'm a big believer in their token. I personally have been investing in it for over a year, and I've talked about them lots of times on this channel. We also want to thank our new Patreons for joining us. Joe's B, David W, Dan H, Tudor M, and a Persian name I have no idea how to pronounce. Thank you for joining us in our Patreon group and supporting this channel. Now today prices are on sale across much of the internet. It is Black Friday day today, funny enough, and Cyber Monday coming up. So discounts maybe on crypto are coming all the way through the weekend. We are going to see. We'll talk about what's driving this and my thoughts on whether I'm worried or not. I do want to go through some of the coins that are on discount today, possibly through this weekend. I don't expect these discounts will last too very long. They could get even cheaper from here tomorrow, or they might bounce back right away. It's almost impossible to tell where they will be tomorrow, but it is a lot easier to tell where they might be 3 months from now. I also want to go through some of your comments from our last live stream with your stories. We did pick a winner out of so many great submissions for the Juan Chain giveaway. I also want to share a great story from one of our subscribers with some great learning lessons in it. I feel this lesson that he so humbly shares perhaps allows us all to learn what is normal that we do as human beings in crypto and where that often leads, versus approaching it systematically so that we can get the real gains that we're here in crypto for, and not fall into the traps where so many fall into and then lose money in crypto and then leave. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain, and if you like money in crypto and are looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as easy as liking our videos and subscribing with the all notifications button on. Nothing in this channel is financial advice. We're not licensed financial advisors here. We're just crypto investors ourselves. Myself, I've been an investor for 20 years prior to crypto, mostly real estate during that 20 years, but a little bit stocks and some other things. 4 years in crypto, and I made some of these mistakes myself early on, but because of some of the lessons I learned through real estate, I learned pretty quickly, and then essentially created what I use as a basis of fundamentals for how I approach things today. That is what I share on this channel. This channel is just for educational purposes, and unfortunately in crypto, we can't give financial advice here, so we just want to make ultra clear. Even with the title of today, we can't tell you what to buy, but we can talk about some things that are on sale and what I like and what personally I'm interested in, and we will do that. Now, I'm not perfect at this even. I'm just really good at this, and I have the patience to let it all play out. And my guess is these principles that I share with you are going to help many of you have some amazing results in the coming 5 years, and I look forward to that journey together. Let's welcome D Money here in our Rainmaker Command Center studio.
Hey, what up, Jay? How's it going?
Good.
I was smiling big time when you said, you're like, I'm not perfect. I'm just really good at this. Which is awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to be part of that team. It's good to be here.
Good. We love having you. He brings a lot of expertise on the YouTube side. That for me, YouTube's new. I've just been doing this for a year and trying to figure out how to grow this audience. And it's not about like trying to save everyone with these principles. It would be impossible because some personalities just don't mesh with this, and that's okay. Like some personalities cannot act logically. They just are going to follow their emotions. But I do know the bigger we grow this audience, the better ability I have to talk to all the teams out there and get better information from them, but also be able to increase giveaways. And so I'm a little bit jealous when I watch Crypto Banter's show, which I actually appreciate how he approaches things. If you haven't seen his show, he does some amazing giveaways that I look forward to when we hit those kind of levels, that we can do some big giveaways. Now, the giveaways are just fun ways to increase the value to you. And just to make it fun while we're here, it's not going to make huge differences. Even if the giveaways get to $100,000, $100,000 doesn't save anybody's financial future forever. It really does get you going in the right direction, though, and acts as a great supplement. So that's our goal, is to grow the channel so that we have better giveaways to supplement these principles. But the truth is, I found if you just give people money, but you don't teach them how to think about it, the money's all gone. I know somebody that got $2 million from a car accident. She essentially got run over by a bus, and it broke her back, and she got $2 million out of it, and it was gone in a year and a half, because she didn't have any idea how to use the money wisely to let it grow. And so these principles are about helping teach people not only how I think about things that makes crypto go really well, but also about the fundamentals of money, so that if you make some great life-changing wealth, it is enough to fuel your lifestyle for the rest of your life. Well, I wanted to dig into what's going on, share my screen with you. What's caused it all to drop today? And the U.S. stock market's COVID plunge puts these potential pullbacks in focus of analysts. Essentially, it's a new strain of the coronavirus. I was a military nurse, and so I think about things like this. And biological weapons can come from nature. They can come from man. And we're not going to talk about where we think coronavirus came from. It's actually completely irrelevant where it came from. It's more about what kind of results does it have. Now, the perfect killer would be one that, as far as a virus, would be one that has a low, it takes a while to incubate within you, but then has a high mortality rate. And especially if it wasn't something that we could find ways to treat it, and that would have a high death rate. Now, thankfully, coronavirus, at first its mortality rate was actually kind of high, almost at 2%, at least that we knew based on the data that we had way back when it was first, and that's actually a pretty high mortality rate. As we figured out how to treat it and deal with it, and how to identify people that have high risk, and also to hyper-oxygenate the oxygen that they were giving, rather than throw them on a ventilator, then the mortality rate fell way down, thank goodness. But at first it had a fairly high mortality rate. These strains, I think they're more a news cycle, because news gets people glued to it. So I don't know that this new strain is something to really worry about. The Delta variant had a lower mortality rate. It was also very contagious, but like if you already had gotten coronavirus, your antibodies worked pretty well against the Delta variant too, as well as the vaccination. I got vaccinated actually after Charles Hoskinson of Cardano did a lot of research on all the different ones, and he said he was getting it, and he was recommending everyone his family did. So I was like, hey, if it's good enough for Charles Hoskinson. I'm going to get it, also, I'm a little bit heavier these days. The last 5 years, I've enjoyed my food a little bit too much. And so I was like, with my risk factors, and I'm probably not going to have kids. So, like, for me, it totally made sense to make that decision, though I do not like governments telling people to make that decision. I liked as a free person, I was able to make that decision. So, am I worried about coronavirus? Well, it crashed stocks today and therefore crashed the market. A lot of people just panic sell when this happens and they get fear. Like if we were to look at the fear and greed index, you would see fear pretty high today and people get panic sell. They panic sell. So I want to show you a day where this kind of thing happened before. In fact, let's look at one that's even more clear than Cardano is straight up Bitcoin. And let's look at what happened on, it's called Black Thursday. And it was right at the bottom of the market. No, that's not it. This doesn't go back far enough. BTC USDT should go back farther. There we go. And it took us to this low right here. Look at that. Ooh, that was steep. And Bitcoin dropped all the way from, first it was at 90, it was like 9,200, dropped down to the 8,400 level. Dropped down to here, I was like, man, it was on sale, and so I bought a bunch here. I did put in a low leverage long at 7,200, so as long as it didn't go below 5,800, or 5,200, I would not get liquidated. Man, do you see where I went to? I absolutely got liquidated because I knew we were at the bottom of the market. It was going to turn around. That day went crazy. Dropped all the way down to here. This is why we don't do leverage, because imagine I lost 1.6 Bitcoin. Imagine how much Cardano that would have bought, because Cardano went down to like 1.5 cents, and that's exactly what I was going to buy more of. But I ended up having to buy some more Bitcoin and everything at some lows to replace what I had just lost. I had no more liquidity, and I was super sad that day because I had lost so much on that leverage trade. And so I don't do leverage anymore, even though I've had some TA experience and everything. If I'd been smart, I would have put in a stop loss, and I just thought the low leverage trade, I'd be fine as long as it didn't wick down like crazy, and it did on that day. Now, is today going to have that big of a red day? I don't think so. Coronavirus was pretty new. We didn't know how this would go, and so it was scary, right? And the world was pretty scared. That's why it dropped down so much. But look at where it went from there. Way up, and my guess is we're having this wick down, but comparatively this wick is small. And so my opinion, it's a great buying opportunity unless we find out it has a high mortality rate, which and a long incubation period. That does get pretty scary if that happens. However, thankfully those that have already gotten it have better immunity against the different variants of it. Even if that immunity isn't perfect, it is actually pretty strong in helping you. So what's going on with crypto because of that? Well, everything is freaking on sale. If we look at CoinGecko and look at where things are at, like everything is down. Look at Wick down, Wick down, Wick down, Wick down, like everywhere. Even the stable coins. It's like, what are the stable coins doing wicking down? But they did, like, they bounced right back up, but look, the stable coins even wick down. That's freaking hilarious to me. So what are the best deals out there? Well, that really depends on your opinion. SolBank is one we followed for a while, and it was starting to take its run up, went to 6 cents, and now it's 25% off at, 4.5 cents. If you look at this, this is a nice W pattern. Another technical term for it is a double bottom. But what you're looking for is a higher low the second time around than this, and it will probably come up, retest this 10-cent line, bounce back down, and then take off to the races. This is just a little hiccup that sometimes happens, and it's a great day for buying. This one I've been following, and funny, like, I haven't been very right on this, at least in the short term. And what's funny is I was dead wrong on Axie Infinity in the short term. I thought, man, okay, this idea of like crypto and gaming and that you can own land, this is the first thing to sell land like this. This is amazing. It's going to do incredible. So I loaded up on the land for it, only to watch like it kind of like the rest of the world not get it yet. Turned out I was very, very right on it, but I was wrong for a while before I was right. And Solend, this is below the IDO price. It IDO'd at like $6, so I don't even know who's selling down here, except for the people that maybe are providing some value on the Solend ecosystem, that they're locking some of their different things in liquidity, like some of their different tokens like Solana, and they're earning some Solend as a reward. That's possibly who's selling, but the IDO was at like 6 cents, and the token lockups for the pre-sale investors that I read, at least according to the document I read, was 2 and 3 years. So who's selling here? I have no idea.
Yeah, and this is one that's just killing me. You said 6 cents. It was at $6, right?
$6, yeah.
And this is one that's just killing me because I'm just not super liquid right now.
Yeah.
But I'm such a huge believer in this project. I mean, just what we've talked about on this channel, what you've talked about, the different investors and everything that where will it be on Coinbase soon? Yeah, probably. Like what does soon mean? But like to be able to get that at basically like what the
basement prices.
Well, yeah, like 33% off of the IDO right now. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like why do I not have more that I can be dumping into
What's
this
funny
project
is
right
they haven't had a lot of news coverage, and it's amazing how much that matters. Like, there's big channels out there, and those big channels have tons of viewers. And when then they cover something, it's funny, if you have over 400,000 subscribers and you say something, and you're like, look, I was right again. And it's like literally that's just 25% of your subscribers bought some, and it pumped like 200% because you covered it. So I don't know if it's so much as being right, so much as you called something, and so then your subscribers bought it. And so, our channel has 20,000 subscribers. We don't have enough to move the market, which on that sense is a good thing, because once you get enough power to move the market, that's when I would feel extra pressure, right? Because it's important that my audience does well. Even though not being a financial advisor, I can't tell you what to buy. I can tell you what I'm doing and the principles that I use, and that's as much as I'm able to share. And I'm able to share my opinions on whether things are, good enough that I'm very interested in them. And I'm very interested in this. I did pick up some more at like 650 and stuff. I don't have any more Solana liquidity on the Solana ecosystem to be able to pick it up at this basement price. I might transfer some over to it, but everything's on great deals. This is just one of the many great deals. One thing that didn't go down was XNL. Now, if you're in my gold member on the Patreon, you got this call the other day, and I was drawing out this nice trend, and it was sitting around, I think, 68 cents. Man, everything went down, but Chronicle is up they're up 50%. So you did get a few days early on this. Chronicle is one I interviewed the team about 5 months ago. Their platform, I think, has come out on phones, and they're starting to get some of their partnerships and some of the IP, intellectual property partnerships that they've done. And look at that, it's done tremendous. But you could see this big rounded bottom like this, and literally it's funny. You can just see, okay, it's turning up. And sure enough, even with all the bad news, it's amazing. It's up at 93%, or up to 93 cents, all the way from back here. So that one's not on sale. Now, it's showing good patterns. Would I FOMO into this? Personally, not when you have so many other good options, right? Like, yes, it's going in a good direction. Dow's has this nice double bottom here. Now, the Dow's team reached out to me yesterday, and I was talking to them, and so that was nice. I've actually been trying to speak with them for forever. So they reached out to me through Twitter, which is a terrible way to get a hold of me because I literally check my Twitter messages so infrequently. But then got it switched over to Telegram, and so then we were talking back and forth on Telegram and trying to get some news, but been so busy I haven't really got to get in deeper. They forwarded me a bunch of stories that I had already read, but what I'm trying to get a feel for is the team behind it, because I like the narrative that they're on. They're in Polkadot. They're doing essentially synthetics on Polkadot, and they're the first that I'm aware of to be doing it, and they launched last March. They did tremendously well from their IDO, but every halfway decent project did, and they've come back and been a lot cheaper. Now, unfortunately, this chart, you can't tell what the actual price is, but it was the only one I could find on TradingView. This is versus ETH, and so this doesn't show you the price near as well as looking at it on CoinGecko, which I don't prefer because it's hard to draw out the technicals. Maybe it'll let us do this. No. Okay, so it was all the way over $3. You can see from this, it's hard to see here. Let me just look at the last 30 days. But it has been showing a W pattern. No, not there. It does show it here. Essentially, W like this. Notice that basically this is a double bottom. Now, often it will come back and retest this line, and it was coming back to retest this line right here. and then this, it's actually pushed farther back down like this. And so watch for it, that it hopefully won't go any lower than it did here. If so, that's a little bit of a concern. Now, it's nice that the team's reaching out to me. I can find out a little bit more fundamentally about the team and what I think about them, because I've liked the narrative that they're in. I think Polkadot going forward is going to catch a lot of momentum. See, Phantoms had a lot of momentum, so has Avalanche, so has Solana's ecosystem, but Polkadot has been out of the narrative for a while, and what I found over past 4 years in crypto, the narrative kind of rotates between different things, and the focus stays on something for a while, but then the spotlight moves, and as the spotlight moves to something else, if you can get to where the spotlight's going to move beforehand, you catch much better pumps. So another one in that same spotlight is EOS. You got this really, really big W here. If we had more chart going back further, we'd be able to see that it was way, way high. I can't remember, $3 or $4. In fact, we can look at it real quick, what the top was in just after it launched. It literally went like 300x from launch, I'm not interested at those prices. But it's come all the way back down here to 20 cents, and we've been covering it all while it was boring here, and it has started to take off. See this nice W pattern here. This is a nice double bottom pattern with it going off. Notice right around this level, it usually comes back and retests, and you do see that came back up here. Well, it came back and retested where it's more solid, actually coming all the way down to here before it then ran off and has been going crazy. And they've finally been in the news again, as Polkadot's been in the news. So EOS got some news. It took off. Some of the major channels covered it, and people were like, oh my gosh, and started buying it. But we were buying it while it was cheap, all in this range. All right, so another one that's a little bit on sale today, but I don't love this price, is Render. Render was a great price during the time period everyone forgot about him. Now, Render has this interesting idea that it'll allow people to put their computers to work rendering some of the metaverses out there and stuff, right? So you can earn Render tokens, and your computer will actually add processing power to the network. So that makes sense, but there's a competitor that's launching to them called Nunet, and I think it just launched. In fact, it did just launch today, because I have, yes, NTX is their token. I think I have what their ICO price is. I always like to check what the ICO price is. 2 cents. It's at 12 cents, so it's 6x over the ICO price. But like Render is way up over the ICO price, and Nunet is essentially the same thing, but not just processing things for rendering. And the team behind this, you've seen some of these people before right here, like the CEO, Dr. Kabir Vita. I have no idea. Vitas, say his last name. Also, Ben Gorsel is, he's the grandfather of artificial intelligence, and a very respected person in the intelligence community. Although if you ever see him in real life, like he was at the Cardano conference, because he does a lot of things with Cardano with Charles Hoskinson, and he was wearing 2 hats, like a magician's hat on top of another hat, like the right guy to be doing artificial intelligence. Like if you watch Ready Player One, he reminds me of the guy that created the game in Ready Player One so much. He's just interesting that way, but very, very smart, and everyone in the scientific community related to AI knows him. He's very well respected. So anyway, this is a new launch. I don't chase green candles. Unfortunately, I did not load up on Render when it was cheap. I'm not going to chase into this, but I found Nunet, and I'm like, So I don't know. I mean, it's 6x from IDO. Hopefully it gets cheaper. There's a lot on discount today, so ordinarily I'd be buying this at this, but there's so many great discounts out there. I'm like, I would just put this on your radar. Feel free, if you're passionate about it, to do some research, see if you like it, because it is on a big sale. Another one that's on an interesting sale is Juan Chain, one of our sponsors from the show. Now, I've been a big believer in their community for like a year, or their token for like 3 years now, and I've held some for like 2.5 years, I think. And I started covering them when I first started my channel. But they came to me and asked if they could sponsor us, and I said, heck yes. They've dropped down to 90 cents, but look at this. They were just up. Let me go on a tighter time frame, 1 hour. They were just up at 121, and they came down here because of essentially these Black Friday deals. So that's a really good price. I have a lot of Juan Chain, and I love it. I just farm with it on OneSwap, and I have it there, and it makes me money every single day while I'm waiting for the price to increase. It's really cool. If you haven't seen my videos on OneSwap and Zookeeper, check it out. It's really cool how you can make money on it while you're waiting for Juan Chain essentially to appreciate. Another one that's on a big deal discount today is Federer. Now Federer, we do have our 401J giveaways that we'll start giving away after we hit 25,000 subscribers. And so we have 5 401Js of Federer that we'll be giving away. We bought $200 allocations at the IDO price. It is getting close to that IDO price. The IDO price was 15 cents, so it's right near the IDO price. Now Federer hasn't had a lot of coverage from the major channels at all, and so when it came out, I mean, it did some, and they haven't released a lot of news because they actually are waiting for some things before they release all that. So that's coming. They have some major announcements that I can't tell you about. I can tell you that they're coming though, but I can't mention names or anything because there's non-disclosures related to that. So I've gotten to know them, especially when I secured the 401J back for all of you. So yeah, they told me some things that I can't disclose publicly, but they have some big things coming that as it does, it will be in the news. So this one's on a great sale in my opinion at this price. Not below IDO price like Solend, but it's right close to IDO price, which for me, if I'm excited about the project and it comes close to IDO price, that's usually really a buy zone for me completely. All right, so that's some of the discounts out there. Now there's a lot of them, so I would find the ones that you're passionate about that are at the deepest discounts. That's just like this temporary panic day. Now Federer dropped more than normal because I think they just had a token release. Here, let me show the chart again and how I know that there was a token release. Okay, they launched here on the 26th, and then all of a sudden this huge drop off here. That tells me, yeah, there was probably a token release there at the 30-day mark, right? And then it's dropped even cheaper. So it went all the way to 20 cents, and then bam, extra discount, almost to IDO price. Okay, so I want to share some of your crypto comments from last time. And last time for this Juan Chain giveaway, I want to make it fair so that those that don't catch the live stream can get included in this giveaway. Now, some of the giveaways will just go to those on the live stream, but I also want to create opportunities for those that just can't make our live stream to be able to watch the videos and still be able to get rewarded. So let's go to some of those comments. We've already picked the winner. We picked the winner earlier this morning, but I want to share with you some of the comments because I think it helps. I love hearing people's stories because we're all just people. So why do some people have better results than others in crypto? Now, a little bit of it is luck. A lot of it has to do with methodology. And when we're not investors, in order to have the results that investors do, it takes learning to think like investors, right? But we all came into the space, just like our rap says, chasing the gains, right? Because I came in after my friend turned like 17,000 into like 170,000. I don't remember the exact numbers, but essentially he had bought Electronium at the IDO for 1 penny and had gone to like 17 cents. And that caught my attention because in, the real estate world, you don't make that kind of money in like 1 month. And so I came in, and what did I buy? I bought Electronium. Yeah, not my favorite project. They're all right. I just don't see them really going anywhere long term. Could be wrong on that. I've since sold all my Electronium. But, when you're new too, you don't know how to differentiate between those that you feel have greater potential long-term value. It's hard to evaluate projects. So we all come in here making some mistakes. So Collector John said, started with Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, when the U.S. started printing dollars like crazy, but banks were giving minuscule interest rates. Got into a couple of hype coins, but not much money invested since it felt like gambling. Found your channel, which led me to Omi and Bumper for now. Still looking into others I found from this channel. About 2x so far in Omi. Great job. And about 4x in collectibles and comics. The VV collectibles and comics have done tremendous. And if you happen to get really lucky, sometimes some incredible gains. Waiting to see what Bumper does when it gets listed on exchanges. Thank you. Oh, Matt said, thank you everyone for watching the stream. I see what you did there, Jay Rain. That's hilarious. Love the interviews and watch everyone I can find. Thank you so much for doing these. So true. All coins around go up and you hold 5 others and none move. All the coins around you go up. And then you're holding 5 others and none move. With patience, I would already be a multimillionaire. I've been in this space since 2017. Rock, congratulations for still being here. You have no idea how many people have left this space, or maybe you do, since 2017. And why would you be anywhere else? And the same, allowed me to quit my job. And as much as I liked my job and the role that I played and working, the people I worked with were great, it's not near as good as having lots of options that money can bring. Now, it's all paper money to me now because I'm still deployed. I haven't cashed it all out sitting in a bank somewhere. And why would I cash it all out sitting in a bank somewhere anyway? Maybe cashing it to stable coins, but in a bank somewhere, no. But I'm still deployed. Let's see. I've been in space since 2017. The same mistakes over and over again. If we add some fear and greed to it, then it's a disaster. I'm now 90% involved in stake in order to insure myself from myself. That's funny. Yeah. Plague Bomb, who was our winner recently of one of our castles on the live stream last week. Hi, Rainmakers. My crypto store, I got a great career, but it requires me to be away from home a lot. Yep. Due to some family issues, I really need to be home more. I got into crypto for financial freedom so I can be there for my family. I'm not ready to quit my day job yet, but I'm on the 5-year Rainmaker plan. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks, Clay, for sharing it. Love hearing your stories. We did pick a winner, and there were so many great stories to pick from. And it's it was hard deciding on who the winner would be, but and there were lots of scam messages. Do note whenever you're looking on YouTube and somebody asks you to call a WhatsApp number, that is always a scam. Or if they say Dr. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, financial advisor and led me to make 6 Bitcoin, that's always a scam. Here we go. Well, I'm no longer seeing. Now, do note sometimes it puts you in when you put your comment, you don't see it right away. It goes into held for review. But I went through and I made sure everything got published under held for review. So if you see your comment disappear right away, that's just YouTube trying to screen the scammers. And sometimes it gets the scammers, but a lot of times it gets a lot of the real people too. And so I did go through and make sure that they all came through so we could look at everyone's. But our winner from this one, and funny enough, it was right near the bottom of this. There it is. Christopher Ashbay. Congratulations. Now, Christopher, we've actually seen him in the Telegram group for forever. He's been a huge long-term supporter. I want to read his comment. Hey, Jay, what got my wife and I on board with crypto is we saw an opportunity to get us ahead in life where we can take care of and raise our family in an environment mostly free of money worries, and concerns if we can invest smart now. My wife works a stressful job, and we both would like for her to be able to leave, and we can if our crypto journey is successful. Thanks for all the help and content. I believe it will help us to be successful in the coming years if Jesus doesn't come back first. We have, what's it called? Like the end of times? They have it in movies.
Oh, like the rapture? Is that what you
or
mean?
Something? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if that comes, it's a long time in the future.
It's nice to see. Like he actually, Christopher had the very first comment on this live stream as well. So I threw that up here. He just said, "Hey, Rainmakers," right at the beginning. So yeah,
nice.
It's cool to see. Cool to see him back for that. And so how are we gonna get that to him?
So yeah, since I hold it in one of my Juan Chain wallets, if you'll PM me on Discord, Chris, not Discord, on Telegram, then send me your Juan Chain wallet and I'll get that sent to you probably today, though today is going to be really busy. We do have some cool things coming for the studio. It's probably going to take a couple of weeks for it to get ready, but we are going to upgrade the command center, so that'll be fun. And improve the look even farther, and just, we'll have some fun with some of the new toys we'll be able to play around with. All right, I wanted to share this story. This comes from Philip, and I asked Philip if I could share his story, but I wanted to read it all to you because it's a great story, and there's a lot of lessons to learn from this. Like, we all come into this space making some mistakes, and I appreciate everyone who joined us from the Patreon. Through the Patreon, you can get access to our private Discord, and on Fridays we have a live chat with our Discord members. that are all Patreon members, and so we had that live chat, and I appreciated you who joined us that shared some of your stories. I love hearing your stories, but it is funny how similar they all are. We come into crypto kind of chasing some green candles. It might be Bitcoin that brought us here when it crossed over some things. It might be meme coins that brought us here. And then there's some lessons that we have to learn. Now, there's two ways to learn the lessons that it takes to be successful in crypto. One is to learn them firsthand, like touching the hot stove. And one is to learn them from other people touching the hot stove. Now, unfortunately, as human beings, we learn the best when we touch the hot stove. So almost always we start by touching the hot stove because we're new and we jump right in and we think that the numbers just go up. And then we learn they don't. The worst that happens is sometimes we make our first couple ones were really successful. So then we bet big and we end up betting big on some losers and lose everything we made. But I wanted to read Philip's story here. Let's see. Okay, if you'll bear with me, I have to look to the left to be able to read this. Hey Rain, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my crypto journey with you. When I first heard about crypto, a friend approached me and told me he just bought 1,000 ETH for $1 each. He was 16 years old and I just felt uncomfortable to participate. Imagine if you could have bought ETH at $1 a piece. A few months later, the price did 100x. The bull run has started, and so have many new projects and first mainstream adoption. I received a call of a trusted person back then who told me about this excellent opportunity to invest in a currency called Bitcoin, which will be a payment solution, has some referral percentages as well. I didn't wait this time and accumulated the majority of my savings, and I sent $20,000 plus $4,000 of my mom's, who I convinced to this company that was in the U.S. to receive my Bitcoin. It turned out to be a nicely organized scam. Even though they recently got charged legally, the money was gone. Or said differently, well invested in my first very expensive learning experience. Good head on his shoulders too, because sometimes you just pay for those learning experiences. I lost $500,000 in real estate investment. Now, thankfully, I had $500,000 to lose, but barely, right? Not my first real estate investments, but some early ones I made that cost me. That's what part of what made me good at real estate investment was the lessons I learned from those huge losses, and they were painful. I mean, I wasn't even a millionaire, so losing $500,000, I lost almost everything, and then I got divorced on top of it. By the time the divorce was done, I was worth negative $300,000. That was rough and some rough times. So lessons like that you learn from. So he did leave the space for a couple of years until 2020. Saw a video of Tika Tawari and his famous 3 coins to 3 million. To know the coins, you had to sign up for his $5,000 newsletter. Eventually, I found the drops in the comments of another YouTube video, so I set up a Crypto.com account and deposited 250 split into these 5 coins, which turned out to over 5,000 a few months later. During the beginning of this year, my excitement for crypto was born, and I watched every video I could find and started to learn as much as I could. I made some little gains during the first run-up at the beginning of 2021, and went through my next learning right afterwards. I reinvested into meme coins, and the success was quite miserable. I bought some more blue chip projects, unfortunately at the peak in the early 2021 cycle. So he's been through some rough times. He's touched the hot stove a couple times after watching his friend turn, $1,000 that he put into ETH, and then ETH at first jumped up to $100. So he went from 1,000 to 100,000. So you watch your friend do that. That's usually what gets us into crypto. And then he came in and invested in what turned out to be a scam. Yep, I invested in some of those when I was brand new and got burned too in 2017. There were a bunch of them, and there will be coming some more. It always happens. That's why I really look at the team, and I know enough now. I haven't invested in anything that was a scam, but my first couple months, I jumped into some high risk, high return ones, but they ended up being scams and lost everything I put into it. His story goes on that's like, life gives you some challenges over and over again until you understand it and change it. So I sat down, meditated, and found out what I needed to learn to be ready to receive life-changing gains. I became aware of a recurring pattern. Number 1, get enthusiastic about a certain topic. Motivation is different. Success. getting enthusiastic about a certain topic. I leave everything behind and enter the rabbit hole. I want to know everything about it and research it nonstop for days and weeks. Why do I do that? Fear of missing out. I fear to miss out on crypto projects. I act out of fear instead of trust. I eventually find certain good opportunities, but since it's fear-based, it never has worked out. I neglected other areas of my life. I started to feel empty, unfulfilled, and find myself exhausted. This is exactly what so many people go through in crypto, and that's why I wanted to share this story today. It's so vital to understand these, so that then if you start to head towards this pattern, you can at least identify it, so you don't you don't go where everyone. This is why people leave in the crypto winter, these exact same patterns. He then starts a new topic. Excitement, opportunity gets my attention, and then the circle starts all over again. I'm still learning to move from control, fear, and impatience to trust, intuition, and a rooted approach. I feel much stronger and ready to call myself an investor now. I'm ready to take decisions which turn out great for my financial life. I'm grateful for the learnings along the way. It was super intense and frustrating. I freaked out, shouted in my pillows, wanted to give up a lot of times, but I always got up again and committed to take responsibility for my feelings. Philip, your journey is a lot like my journey, actually. I knew that there was money out there to be made and that some people were making it. And so I jumped in feet first into, real estate investing and then some other investing things. And then when it didn't go as well for me as I would have liked, I was stubborn enough to stick around and to learn what I was doing wrong so that I could stop doing what was wrong and do a lot more of what I'm doing right, what works right for people. And so it's taken me a long time. Like, I'm not new to crypto investing, or I'm not new to investing, even though 4 years ago I was new to crypto investing. I even made some of those mistakes. But that's why I share what I do, and why I really wanted to start this channel was because I wanted to start the channel that I didn't find when I was new in crypto. The YouTube channel sharing experience that would help me avoid the pitfalls that lead so many people to FOMO in, panic sell out, and then leave the space. I know that only 5% of people make money in crypto, but how do I attract the people that are willing to learn about the principles that would make them successful, so that together we make a lot of friendships and a lot of money together, right? So I want to share Phil's story. It's in many ways a lot like mine, and possibly even a bunch of you. So also, I did want to thank our sponsors, Juan Chain and also NordVPN. If you're looking for a good VPN service, Dr. of Stuff did weeks of research on the best VPN service for the price. There's a link below, or you can just go to their site and enter the discount code Rainmaker. There's not actually a discount on it. It just allows them to know that this came from us, so we appreciate it if you put it in. Their price is just what their price is. It's actually already heavily discounted for everyone right now. It's on a Black Friday sale for, you get 2 years for 80% off, really, really discounted. So it ends up being $3 a month. Do you have to use a VPN? No. Do I have a VPN service? Yeah. After about 6 months in crypto, I realized I need to get a VPN service, and I've used some different ones, but they were only okay. So I had Dr. Stuff really do some research to figure out what was best, and did a great job on his research. So then we reached out to them and partnered with NordVPN. So if you need a VPN or want one, best service, at least in our opinion.
Hey Jay, there's a couple comments here. Subham is probably how you announce it. He says, "Hello, sir. I'm from India," and then he says, "Here, crypto is going to get banned." So we talked about this on Wednesday. And he says, "What can I do? Please reply." So as we were talking about, what's driving the dip, we experienced that on Wednesday a little bit, but just if you could talk about that for a second for those who aren't familiar with what's happening in India.
So how do you enforce a ban on crypto? Now, you can fine your people and you can jail them, right? And India's banned crypto 8 different times, but because the population is pretty, at least in a lot of areas of India, technologically savvy, and they're smart, and they figure out ways, they're entrepreneurial minded. They figure out ways around it. China banned crypto lots of different times. They finally gotten to the point that they're jailing people with crypto. So it's oh, China is very serious, but what is India going to do? See, they're a communist government. They're actually not quite communist anymore. They used to be under Chairman Mao, but since Chairman Mao, they're actually more of a fascist government, which the only difference between communism and fascism really is fascism is communism light. Like the Nazi Party is the most famous fascist party, famous for all the wrong reasons because they're a terrible regime. But essentially they were like socialists where private enterprise still controlled the businesses. If you think about it, China was full communist until 1970s, but then they said, hey, we're going to privatize the businesses as long as they do everything that we tell them to do. And that's actually exactly what the government structure was in Germany under Adolf Hitler and Italy under Mussolini. It was a socialist government, but private ownership of the businesses. At the time, it was like they called it like communism light, or they called it democratic socialism at the time. And essentially, it's still socialism, but private ownership of the businesses. But if we don't like what you're doing, we'll shut down your business. So that's what China has been operating in. And it's more successful than full communism. And so they've actually prospered much more than they had, because everyone was starving under communism, under Mao, except for Mao. And so they prospered under that compared to what they have. But they do have very strong power. If they don't like what you're doing, they'll just jail you, and they don't even necessarily give you a reason. India is more democratic. It's not a fascist or communist government. They're more democratic. So can they just jail you if you're using crypto? I don't know. I haven't lived in India. I've had some friends when I worked at Accenture. There was a lot of people working for Accenture from India. And so, like, I can't imagine, how do they enforce that? They fine you? Like, what are they going to do? And they even said with some exceptions. Now, there's a part of the Royal Bank of India wants nothing to do with crypto other than a digital currency, which then they can control. And so as they've gotten closer to rolling out their central bank digital currency, they're trying to shut down the competition. So we'll see what happens in India. This is the 8th or 9th time I've seen that story recirculated, because it's the same group trying to build bigger momentum to shut crypto down and make it illegal, and the same legislators.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, as I tried to pull up news, so looking at 2 days ago, what the headlines were, right? It was like, so the BBC is Indian government set to ban cryptocurrencies. Crypto bill spooks Indian investors. And then, but 1 day ago, now CNBC says India might tighten crypto rules instead of imposing an outright ban. And so, that article on CNBC talks about, like, in March, this happened. India was considering a law that would ban cryptocurrencies, fine anyone trading, But in the same article, it says there's been a lot of positive vibes from the government. We met Finance Committee of Parliament around 2 weeks back. The message or the feelers, which we are getting from the government, is that they're looking for some kind of regulation, strict regulation, but not a complete ban. And that is Shakar. Sorry, I don't have who that is, but the article on CNBC. But it is interesting that, like, those fear-inducing headlines, right, where it's just like, oh, it's gonna ban. Like, well, okay, actually, they're just looking to maybe tighten things up a little bit. So
we see the cycle over and over again go through, and this won't be the last time. Will it actually pass this time as it's written? Probably not. We'll see, right? China finally did get serious, but China is a much more authoritarian government. Like, they don't like you, they disappear you. Like, they have a lot more power there. There's essentially 40 families or 400 families that rule all of China. And, a lot of that power is consolidated into Xi Jinping. And he does have a lot of power, and so they can enforce things in a totalitarian government like that it's going to be much harder for them to do in India, which is much more democratized. In the U.S., Janet Yellen tried to get this thing snuck in through I can't even remember the senator's name, some no-name Democrat senator snuck in to try to ban cryptocurrency, right, and really shut it down, and it got passed just because of some mechanisms that went bad for everyone, because there was a bunch of Democrats and Republicans that wanted nothing to do with that, and the way it got introduced and when it got introduced in the bill just ended up with some bad timing, and now some Democrats and Republicans are working together to try to change the language in that. We'll see if it gets done, because the people want it, and even though some politicians that want to keep the control of the central bank digital currencies don't want it, people want it. Why? Because we're having a harder and harder time trusting fiat currency, and what a digital currency, a central bank digital currency, is just they can still print money even easier with a central bank digital currency than having to have a printer and make sure it's legit money, right? So the great thing about a central bank digital currency, the one good thing about it, there's lots of bad things about it, is it does keep counterfeiting down. But
hey, let's do some questions. Do we have a little bit of time?
let's do it.
Okay,
I'd
so
love to.
so Uncle Mike's Cryptonomics, it turns out is the old farmer from Telegram. It looks
Yeah,
like.
we love the whole farmer.
So yeah, Uncle Mike, we can start calling him that as well. So Jay, are you buying more Freeway token today? Old farmer waiting to retire this bull run with OMI.
I have been continuously dollar cost averaging into it, and I'm still not happy with how much I have. I don't have liquidity right now that I guess there's nothing I want to sell to buy it, and all my my stable coins are deployed. So, like, would I buy more if I had more liquidity? Let's look at their price. I love this project. I think it'll go great. It is a risk. I mean, they've 43% returns. They've been paying them out. You can see what they paid out since they've had their Aubit platform live at, like, you know, if you work that out, that's roughly 3% a month, and sometimes they paid up to 4%. Do they really have the trading algorithm, the least algorithm that drives this? My guess is yes. Is it scary to me a little bit that they don't? Yes. Have I bet heavily on this one? Absolutely, I have. And so it's at 1.7 cents. I have been dollar cost averaging into this actually ever since it peaked out and then came back down here at 1.2 cents. I started buying and then going in here because I had been looking at it I've been in talks with them since like February and looking maybe March and looking at it, and then LEO Trades covered it here, actually about here, and it went crazy all the way up to, like, him alone covering it went all the way up to 2.5 cents. That is the power of 400,000 subscribers. And then it came back and has been really healthy here. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people I know that know the team too very well and believe in them. So am I a little bit worried that, like, yeah, there's, you know, they're not making those returns and somehow they're trying to, like, this is a big Ponzi scheme or something. Could be. I'd say there's that risk, right? That's the risk of it. It scares me a little bit. That otherwise I would put in the bear market when it slows down, I'd put 100% into there. Not 100% because all your eggs in one basket, you just never know. But I would deploy maybe 60 or 70% of my capital into there because 43% is a heck of a lot better than anything else, because even Anchor Protocol's only doing 19.5%. And so it's twice as good as the next best option. But yeah. So am I buying more? No, only because I have so much. But I will, as other things go well, if it stays anywhere near these prices, I will be buying a lot more of this.
Another question similar. Are you buying more OMI, or are you happy with your bag?
I'm pretty happy with it. I have a lot of OMI, and I just dollar cost average into it during this whole downturn here. And they do have some good incentives for holding, but, like, I think the incentives max out at, like, a certain number of OMI that you're holding. So I've accumulated millions of OMI while, you know, in this whole period. My first purchase was on this downtrend. Now, I actually bought it way back here in the pre-sale. That money is lost somewhere. I put 1 ETH into it. At the time it was $400. I had a friend look up what the value would be, and he said $82,000. And I don't know where that Juan Chain wallet is that it was sent to. Oh, well, so that's gone.
Sheesh.
But that was my first purchase. So, yeah, there's, you know, to decrease the token supply right there. You're welcome. And so, yeah, essentially that's a token burn, because if I haven't found it by now, that wallet, I won't be able to find it, I'm pretty sure. And so I bought some at 7.2 cents or something, or 0.72 cents. And then I bought more all the way down, loaded up a whole bunch of it here. See this double bottom here? These are the W patterns that we talk about. Then it came up like this, and then it retraced down a little bit, ran up, retraced, ran up, and it's been floating around this level. It did, wow, that's pretty attractive price though, 0.58 cents. I don't know that we'll see that price again.
I haven't seen it below 0.6 in I don't know how long, right?
And this might be a price that, like, is the floor of the crypto winter. Like, I think OMI's going to run tremendously from here. They have the VV verse that'll be coming out. Like, There's so much that even during the down market, I think most things will retrace, and Akomi will probably retrace from whatever highs it hits to. But this might be our last time ever seeing this price ever again, close to half a cent.
Yeah, and this will go along. I'm going to bring up Michael's question as well. What do you think about theta? And we don't have to do this right now, but to Michael and I can't remember who just talked about OMI. There's some conversation going on. But if you watch the video from yesterday with Paul, you guys covered both of these projects, right?
Yeah, as well as I sent this out to our Patreon group through Discord because I like this chart. I like this chart a lot. So it got really, really hot here in the spring. And, I figured out near the end of the crypto winter that when things got really cheap, I would buy it. And then I would set some instant sales prices when it would double. But with theta, it was a little bit more volatile. And so what I did was I set some prices to sell. I sold the rest when it went another 50% up because I thought it would dip down. I'd be able to buy it again. So I bought a bunch at like 7 cents. I think might have been here, and I played this game, sold at 14 cents or just under 14 cents, and then I was able to buy some more at 7 cents somewhere around here, and then it went up to 14 cents. I sold, and then it went up to 21 cents. I sold the rest of it, and of course then it went all the way up to 14. It actually went higher than what it's even showing here. And, people were like, oh, why don't you, people right here were like, why don't you buy it? It's only $4. And I was like, I don't chase green candles because I don't know how high this is going to go. I just move on to other things. What I look for is nice consolidation retracements. So from here, it's either going to break up or break down. It's on the bottom of this trend line. So if you're not heavy on blue chips, you might want to take a strong look at this if you're trying to increase your portfolio on blue chips. Like Theta's reached that blue chip level. They've always had a really strong team, which is what I like them in the bear market. I looked for the projects that had really strong teams that would probably be around 20 years from now. And what I've seen from them in the past 8 months is further confirmed that I think that they'll probably be around 20 years from now. But I wasn't going to buy in at $3 when it had already taken this tremendous ride up. And so now it starts to get interesting. So it's basically over 50% discount from March. So it hasn't even retraced to its previous highs. And my guess is it will. And it's been out of the narrative for a while. Like everyone was talking about it here, and BitBoy was covering it every day. It's a good sell signal. You should pay attention to the thumbnails of BitBoy's channels and consider if he talks about something more than 3 times in a week, consider that might be a good exit point for you. So don't dismiss BitBoy's channels. I don't ever take any advice he gives. I don't know that investment stuff is his thing, but he does have the best produced channel in all of YouTube. I have to say, they've done a fantastic job with that. When he says this is a good buy, I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you, Ben.
One last comment just to throw out there. Very Stranger says, hi, man, the market is on fire, and you're here doing your live for us. So I love to hear that appreciation. And, we're here for you guys for sure.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We don't have to do this. Dee and I and Dr. Stuff still has his full-time job. He makes great money doing what he's doing. We don't have to do this. The money, this is not a profit center for me at all. I lose money on the channel because thankfully I was able to attract some good people like Dee and Doctor of Stuff to help me. And it will turn into where it makes some money, which is great. And we appreciate all your support on Patreon. We're taking some of those funds and we're going to improve the studio. I appreciate your help so I don't have to cash out a lot of my own crypto to do all these things because it's early to sell and it's painful for me to sell. I'm so much of an investor that it's hard to sell when I know what's coming in the coming months. So I do appreciate all of your support, and it's funny, the little bit on Patreon, the entry level $20 here, $20 there goes a long way, and I use that money to basically essentially reinvest in the channel. So thank you all of you who support that. That isn't a profit center for me, but at least it takes some of the burdens from selling my crypto to do that, because that really is painful for me, and that was getting kind of burning me out, because it is a lot of energy to produce this, and then having to pay for it, that was really burning me out. So thank you we started the Patreon, and been a lot of support there, so thank you to all of you who do that, because I enjoy these principles. Like my mentor in real estate, he didn't have to take the time to do that. He was worth $200 million. He was building a house that would heat and cool itself with no outside electricity for fun. He was basically retired, and so he only did the things that he wanted to do in life. And so he would teach this class, and when I went to this class that he was teaching on finance and real estate, I was like, this guy is brilliant. Something's unusual about this guy. He's clearly not teaching this class for money, because he brought pizza for everyone. I was like, man, that's probably, he just spent what he makes teaching this class bringing pizza for everyone. And so then I was like, who is this guy? I asked him some questions. I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah, I own a bunch of land here and there. So I looked up, the values of what he owned. I was like, this guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he was teaching the class because he enjoyed it, right? And the truth is, you get some value out of sharing some of the things that have helped you. I can't explain it, but there's some value to me out of that, because I could just go off and retire and play video games. That would kind of be fun. But there's plenty more to harvest, right? And there's more money to be made in the crypto space. So I'm not ready to be done. Maybe after this cycle I could be ready, but I made the commitment to you that if you will stick around for the next 5 years, I'll be here too. And it's kind of 4.5 years from now. So it's still close to 5. We say 5, but it's really 4.5 more years. This bull run, and then the crypto winter, and then the bull run after that. And so there's a lot of money still to be made for not only me, but for a lot of you. So we'll do this journey together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So don't go anywhere during the crypto winter. That will be the tempting thing. It gets boring, and you'll have lots of regrets, like, I should have waited till here to sell. But likely, if you're smart, you'll have taken some profits out. You'll be very liquid. You might end up buying early. It's hard to know how cheap it's going to get. And what happens in the crypto winter, this happened to me, you deploy some capital, and then it gets even cheaper, and you're like, so you deploy some more capital, and then it gets even cheaper, and you're like, and then about 6 months later, when everything's going up, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I bought when I did, because prices are like 10 times more expensive now. So, good problem to have. Well, we're running out of time. It's been good joining you this Friday on this day that the market is on fire. We appreciate all your support in this channel. If you're ready to level up your crypto game, there's no better place I can think that you could be. I mean, we're just sharing these principles that work. I didn't create these. It took me some hard lessons to learn them, and I'm sharing them with you because they work. So if you haven't already, subscribe, catch our videos every day, and do find opportunities, if you could, to share our channel with other people. If we can grow this community, we can grow the giveaways that we can do, and that'll be fun. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, right before you could, was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic, they dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to studying to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge the gain show. Sticking at this run cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. They go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Amazing time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, but time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.